one of the one of the teachings that has always attracted me, that I'm doing some other calls on, are the Native American teachings, where I'm teaching around the medicine wheel as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I really appreciate their definition of medicine as anything that heals body, mind, or spirit, because that really enlarges the field of what you can find for healing. You know, it doesn't have to be something that heals you just physically, which is, I think, where our society focuses. Or most people focus, at least on the first level of asking the question about medicine. But I love that the wider definition includes healing on all different levels. And for me, it becomes more clear if I think of healing on the body level, that as a doctor, that's pretty clear. You know, physical symptoms and
yes.
Things that can resolve or improve, and we have surgical interventions. We have very dense physical interventions as well, medications that we can do. But then we have diseases on other levels of things on the mental level, the mind, of limiting beliefs that block us from succeeding, keep us stuck in our lives, things like that, or emotional triggers that keep us repeating patterns or keep us in stress or anxiety. So there's different ways to think of how these other energy levels manifest. And then on the spiritual level of not finding your purpose or passion would be sort of something you can help someone in spiritual healing with. I think anytime you give a student guidance on finding their purpose, you're giving a spiritual guidance, because you're helping them to connect. And I love the Native American finding your medicine. Finding your medicine is really finding your gift that you have to give the world. And
wonderful.
When you find that gift, it really incites you with passion and purpose, and
yes.
really heals you in a really dramatic way. It changes who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that wider definition of healing and in all of these teachings that consider us multidimensional beings and really include all of who we are in a healing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what your practice addresses. I mean, you do both. And the work that that Karen Cortelli-Smith and I met her at Unity years ago when I was beginning my path and was taking classes there on their spiritual education and enrichment program. And that's basically, we were talking about metaphysics and health and the body, and actually Unity was started as a healing ministry. So that's how I got interested in healing. And Karen was already a very accomplished spiritual healer when I met her. And we ended up taking classes together. Matter of fact, we were at the craniosacral together, as you will recall. And so we.
And now you teach all this work in tandem. That's fantastic.
Correct. We do. So we do the National Federation of Spiritual Healers. We teach that work, and then we teach also Theta Healing, which is a very powerful energy healing therapy modality. But one of the things I wanted to mention, you just said about the mental aspect is so huge, and you just addressed that. And I thought it reminded me that Karen and I, we take people on spiritual journeys to John of God once a year in August. Now, John of God is he's a world-famous spiritual healer. He's located in Brazil. And he is an amazing healer. I've seen people going in there in wheelchairs and crutches and leaving, walking on their own. As a matter of fact, there's a room there that they empty occasionally, but it's filled with wheelchairs and canes and walkers and all these type of devices that people just leave because they don't need them when they leave there.
Oh, wow.
It's absolutely amazing. So I've seen miracles. I mean, I've seen this happen. And I really thought about John of God when I was thinking about our discussion today, because this man is world famous. He does such phenomenal work, and yet he's got two basic premises, and he says, number one, I do not heal. God does. He's totally emphatic. When he says God, he's talking about source energy. He's talking about the creator of all that is. He's talking about the universal source of peace, love, and wisdom. That's where the healing, in other words, he says, I am the channel through which the energy flows. He wants to make sure that people understand that he doesn't do the healing, that the healing is done by the divine source energy. So that's all important for people to understand, that the healer is the channel. And it's like the shamans say, I love the term the shaman used, as a hollow bone. We're like a hollow bone. And we're a hollow bone. We're channeling this energy. And that's the first point he makes. And the second point he makes is that only 50% of the healing is of God, the angels, or the entities. He says that's the thing. Guess what the other 50% is? It's us. In other words, all healing is self-healing. It's our having an investment in the healing. It's by our higher self's permission. In other words, he really, really points out that a huge component, half of it, is our investment, and it's our mental attitude in our own healing. It's our faith. It's our belief that healing for us is in fact possible. It's our investment. It's doing what we need to do, or what we are told, whatever it is, to affect the healing. So he writes prescriptions for medication. It's spiritual medication, and it's passiflora. It's just an innate herb, and it is they put it in capsules. But he writes a prescription. You take the prescription to the pharmacy, and all the bottles look alike. You go, well, what's this all about? But he says that it's all infused with spiritual energies just for what you need. So you take the medication 3 times a day, or whatever the directions are at that point. But he'll say, okay, while you're taking this medication, you are to drink no alcohol or eat any hot, spicy foods. He might have other things. But so even in the medication, what he is saying is, more than just taking this, you have to have an investment here. You have to be, you're part of this creating this healing. And so here's your job. Your job is to not drink alcohol and not eat hot, spicy foods. And then he goes on, and he really points out the attitude, our attitude. Do we, in fact, believe? Do we have faith that the healing, and he likes to point out, the healing has already occurred in the ethers. It's all about manifesting it into the physical. And we have to allow that manifestation through our witnessing, that is, through our mental attitude, through our belief, through our faith that it can happen. And he always likes to say, it's like Jesus said, according to your faith, be it done unto you. So he's really emphatic on this. And so the mental part of this, if I can, I just want to talk about unity. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore were founders of unity, and in the 1800s, late 1800s. And Myrtle at that time, this was prior to them forming the unity movement, but it was late 1800s, and she had tuberculosis.